Hi there. Today I'm going to be telling kind of a longer story. My story today is I'm going to be giving a longer story than typical to get to the end where I describe what I would do differently now and how I see this as intergenerational legacy. I'm not really calling this one intergenerational trauma. I do think there's a difference. I just think it's interesting how my mother-in-law, Evelyn, has her issues, which then were the catalyst. I can't think of the right word right now, were the set off my issues, and how now 10 years later, I'm still dealing with the fallout from that situation. That's the summary. So this is going to be longer than typical, and I'm still going to try to make it as easy to listen to and as quick as I can. 12 years ago, my daughter was 6 months and now she's 12 and a half. 12 years ago, the plan for Christmas was that we would have our Christmas here in our family of 4. Gabe, I think you know my husband's name by now. Gabe, me, my son Michael, who was 2, and his sister, my daughter Amira, who was 6 months. Have our Christmas here. Well, actually, let me back up. This is what we would have done historically. Our Christmas here, then we go to Gabe's mom. This was every other year. We go to Gabe's mom, and Gabe and his siblings, his 2 brothers and their parents, we have Christmas there. And then we go to Gabe's aunt's house, his mom's sister, and that's where the whole extended family is. Even though what's interesting, if you think about it, for my kids, even going to Gabe's mom's house is their extended family because that's their uncles and grandparents. But so there's our Christmas, then Gabe's parents' house, and then Gabe's aunt's house. And yes, that was a lot. And it's what we did every year since the first year I moved here in 2005. That's just what we always did. And this system worked really well until Gabe's generation of children started having kids and their own spouses and in-laws got involved. So when Amira was 6 months old, we had actually just moved as well. So geography was going to be an issue. And I'm going to try and do a little map for you. We didn't want to go from our house to his mom's house to his aunt's house. It was just a lot when we could just go straight to his aunt's house. So Gabe called his mom and said, we're not coming this year. Let's do a different Isa Christmas because we're just going to go straight to Auntie Pat's. It just makes more sense with geography. Come to find out his older brother has said the same thing and his middle brother had said the same thing. And so here's where stuff comes into play. His mother in her 80s said, if no one comes to my house, I'm not going to Auntie Pat's. I'm not kidding. She said, if you all don't come here, I won't go there. If you don't come here to see me, you don't get to see me there. So Gabe and I said, okay, I guess we won't see you. Okay, that's your choice. I don't agree with it, but that's your choice. I don't know what the other brother said. The middle brother did find a way to work it out. We did see her later in the day. I wasn't happy with how it all played out. That is the short version. 2 years later, because again, this was every other year, I came to Gabe in November and said, this is the every other year. This is what happened. I'm just reminding you of what happened 2 years ago. How do we stop that from happening again? So it may be my mother-in-law's stuff, her inner child stuff about needing to get her own way and who knows what else, but it kicked up my stuff of I can't deal when people aren't happy. I have to appease other people. I won't be able to handle it if your mom is throwing her fit again. So what can we do about that? And Gabe's answer was, what if we host? Let me go ask Auntie Pat if we can host instead. And I don't know how old you are watching this video. I don't know what your family situation is like, but I have found that there are 2, probably more, but 2 distinct types of people generationally who host. And when the time comes that they're getting older, and the question is, are they going to host anymore or when are they going to give it to the next generation? And there is one group of people that is like, no, I'm going to host forever. You cannot take this holiday away from me. And then there are the others that are like, I am so ready and willing to give this up. And thank you for the offer. His mom seems to be in the first camp, if you haven't noticed that. And his aunt was in the second camp. Gabe came to Auntie Pat and said, do you mind if Vicky and I host Christmas? And Auntie Pat said, I'll bring a roast. Thank you. Yes, you can host. I'll bring some food. When my daughter was 2.5, we hosted and it went really well. And then we didn't have to go anywhere, which was the plan. So we got our Christmas here in the morning. I mean, there's a lot of prep work. I had no idea what went into hosting. My mom didn't host a lot when I was little. So there was a lot of prep work in the days before. And the morning of, we did not get a lot of leisurely time with my kids to enjoy them, be entertained with them, help them set up for them some of the toys that they got. There wasn't time for that because we had to clean up at least a little bit to host his family. And we have now done this every other year since. And my kids are now 12. She's 12 and a half. He'll be 14 next week. It occurred to me this year that how much time I'm losing with my kids, that on Christmas morning when again, they want to just be playing and hanging out and not cleaning and not putting stuff away. I can't give them that because we get up, we open gifts. We do have a great morning opening gifts and we are blessed. And then we have to clean up pretty fast because his immediate family comes over. Like we host everything now. His parents are too old to be hosting in their late 80s. So we host his immediate family and then the whole extended family comes over, right? Every other year. And we host all of this all because 10 years ago, I couldn't deal with my mother-in-law's upset. My way to get around her being upset was to just host and take her whole thought process out of the equation. If we are hosting, she cannot expect and want us to come to her house, right? Which if you remember, when Amira was 6 months old, that was the whole issue. If we didn't come to her house, she wasn't going to go to Auntie Pat. So by us hosting, we didn't have to go to her house because I had no boundaries and I couldn't deal with her being upset. Because what I wish had happened the next year, and again, the first year was too bad. I don't care that you're upset. We're doing it our way anyway. Fine. Don't show up. That's on you. I would call that what Terry Real calls first consciousness, what I call unintegrated brain state. It lives here. Survival mode, protective mode. Again, we fixed it. But did we really? Like I said, there's still stress involved and now we still don't get to enjoy my kids in the morning. Whereas what I wish we had done the next year, 2 years later, but the next time was when Evelyn threw her fit again and said, no, you have to come here. I wish I could have dealt within myself with my own discomfort at her being upset, comforted myself, and said, I get that you're upset. I'm not trying to change her mind. I wish I had done this on the inside. I wouldn't have said any of this to Evelyn. What we likely would have said was, Mom, we're sorry that you're still upset about this. We understand that you want us to come over. It does not make sense for our family. We hope to see you at Auntie Pat's, and we totally understand if you're not going to show up. Isn't the energy behind that very different than, fine, don't show up. That's on you. Mom, we're sad. We'd love to see you. It just doesn't work for our family anymore. We will see you at Auntie Pat's. How could we schedule this differently, Mom? Is there anything that we can do? And then let her have her own reaction. And then we would open our gifts here at home between 8 and 9. I mean, we do make my kids wait a little late and I feel bad about that. So sometimes we do 9. We'd open our gifts here. We'd have an hour or two to hang out here with the kids before going to Auntie Pat's. And it hit me this weekend. It was like a couple days after Christmas that I pieced together the whole thing and realized, like I said, this is intergenerational legacy. When one generation isn't dealing with their stuff and then it kicks up other stuff for the next generation. I think for me, intergenerational trauma is when it's the same behavior that gets passed down. There's the difference in what I would call Vicky terms. When a dad is, or a mom, by the way, I should say, it could be both. But like when there's physical abuse, that then the next generation abuses their generation. To me, intergenerational trauma is when it's the same thing that happens. A dad calls his children stupid. His children call their children stupid. That's intergenerational trauma. To me, the intergenerational legacy is when it just shows up so drastically different. Not to mention in my case, one, there's no bloodline, right? It's my mother-in-law to me. Although the intergenerational legacy is that my husband's response to trauma is to fix. So there's his role in it. I came to Gabe 10 years ago and said, how do we resolve this with your mom? And rather than any of us sitting in our hard feelings and developing healthier boundaries around it, Gabe's answer was to fix. How do we fix? We take the holiday over. Whereas, like I said, if I could have just dealt better within myself at Evelyn's emotional response, none of this would have happened. We are at a point, by the way, that the elders can no longer host. Based on age and stuff. So things would be very different today anyway, but it also would have come from a very different emotional space. Maybe from a more integrated brain state and not the unintegrated brain state where this decision got made. So like I said, this is a longer video than usual, but I just wanted to put this out there into the ether world because my hope is that other people can start learning from things and changing their behaviors based on things they're learning from me. I mean, hopefully you're actually in therapy as well. But if you're not in therapy and getting anything from these videos, I hope that can be helpful. If you like this, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and feel free to leave a comment and maybe get a discussion going as well. Take care.